Hi everybody, welcome back to our next Lunch and Learn, and it's taken us to Yorkville. Boundaries, Bloor to the south, Davenport to the north, between Yonge and Avenue Road. Yorkville was created in 1830 by the entrepreneurs Joseph Bloor and William Jarvis, and you may recognize both because the families have streets named after him. Originally, Yorkville was a residential suburb. Bloor, he operated a brewery on the northeast corner of Bloor and Church, and Jarvis, he was a local politician. The two purchased land in the Yorkville area, and they subdivided it into smaller lots. And they did it for those interested in living in a cleaner outside air outside of the town of York. Because you remember, it wasn't Toronto until 1834. The political center of Yorkville was the Red Lion Hotel, just north of Yonge and Bloor, where the Toronto Reference Library is now. And that library is directly behind me. Now, it was a local watering hole as well as a polling place for elections. The community grew, and by 1853, the population of Yorkville reached 1,000. And that was the figure needed to incorporate it as a village. And the village of Yorkville was formed then. By the 1870s, Potter's Field, it was a cemetery stretching from Yonge along the north of Bloor. It was closed, and the graves were moved to the Toronto Necropolis and the Mount Pleasant Cemetery. The village of Yorkville erected a town hall in 1860 at the corner of Yonge and Yorkville, and a fire hall in 1876 that still stands today. By the 1880s, the cost of delivering services to the large population of Yorkville was beyond the village's ability. It petitioned the Toronto government to be annexed, and it was annexed on February 1st, 1883. The character of Yorkville, it didn't change when it became part of Toronto. Victorian-style homes, residential streets and gardens, it survived into the 20th century. In 1923, the Toronto Hebrew Maternity and Convalescent Hospital was open at 100 Yorkville, which is right behind me. And a year later, it changed its name to Mount Sinai Hospital. The facade of the building, it still stands today. Right now, it's a Chanel, and it's the front of a luxury condo development as well. In the 1960s, Yorkville flourished as Toronto's bohemian and hippie cultural center. It was the breeding ground of some of Canada's most noted musicians, like Joni Mitchell, Neil Young, and Gordon Lightfoot. And after the Bloor Danforth subway opened in 1966, the value of the land in Yorkville, it increased, chasing out a lot of these coffee houses and the hippies. The 1970s and 80s saw the arrival of more high-end retailers and luxury designer brands on Bloor Street, leading the area to be dubbed Canada's Mink Mile. The residential homes on Bloor along Yorkville and Cumberland, they were converted to high-end retail, including art galleries, boutiques, bars, cafes, and restaurants. Many smaller buildings, they were demolished, and offices and hotels were built in the 70s, with high-priced condominium developments being built in subsequent decades. More office towers and condominium buildings also began to appear, transforming Yorkville into a mixed-use neighborhood. In the early 90s, a 500 by 100-foot piece of land on the south side of Cumberland was converted to a park. We are standing in it actually right now. In true Toronto fashion, the row houses here, they were torn down in the 50s to accommodate the Bloor subway. 20 years later, in the 70s, the city of Toronto agreed to replace it with a park, and then it took another 20 years to finally be built. It's really a great spot, though, with gardens, a fountain, and as you can see right behind me, 700 tons of Muskoka granite. Anyhow, let's go eat lunch, Momo House on Bay Street.
Hi everyone, Joelle here. We are now in Momo House. Sadly, the audio didn't join us. There are many wonderful but expensive places to eat in Yorkville. Sadly, our production crew has us on a very low budget, but that didn't stop us from enjoying lunch. Sean had the chicken and I had the chap momos. They were delicious, and Sean and I, we know our momos. Now back to our regularly scheduled audio.
Today, Yorkville is known for its upscale shopping, gourmet dining, and luxury residential and commercial real estate, making it one of the most expensive areas in North America. Yorkville shops and restaurants, they're located in pretty Victorian houses on Yorkville Avenue, Hazelton, which we're standing on right now, Cumberland and Schollard, and they date back to the 19th century. Hazelton Lane Shopping Center, it's located at 55 Avenue Road, and it features over 100 exclusive shops and restaurants. Yorkville's Victorian houses, they were built mainly between 1870 and 1895. And these historical homes exhibit many decorative features, and there's some great examples behind us right now. Ornamental brick patterns, gingerbread gables, cast iron fences, and beautiful landscape gardens. And also, many of Yorkville's houses are listed on the Toronto Historical Board's inventory of heritage properties. So prices, the majority of the houses, they're row houses and semis, and they sell generally high 1 millions, 1.7 to 1.8, somewhere in that range, all the way up to $7 million. But the majority, they're 2 to 4 million. Detached, they're harder to come by. There's only been 4 MLS sales in the last 5 years, and they've sold between 3 and 7 million. As for condos, there are many in the neighborhood, mostly around the perimeter or on the major streets. They're built anywhere from the 1970s to the present, so there's going to be a huge discrepancy in prices. Studios, about $500,000. One bedrooms, mid fives for the smaller, less than 500 square foot units, to the newer buildings, to 1.1 to 1.3, which are usually older and larger, probably over 1,000 square feet. 1+1s, they're $600,000 to $800,000. 2 bedrooms, generally 1.4 to 3 million, but there are some very exclusive buildings in the area. I'm actually standing in front of one right now. And they don't be surprised to find $5 to $7 million. And I even saw many years ago, there was a $10 million sale. It's when you get into that price range, there's going to be 3 and 4 bedrooms, and they're going to be 3,000 to 5,000 square feet. Anyhow, I love doing these videos. Like, share, and we'll talk soon.